And that's the 411. Welcome to today's episode of Board Game Breakfast. We're back. Thank you so much for those of you who were patient with us last week as we took a much needed rest. And we really did take a rest. Mostly. Yeah, I worked a bit, but mostly we took a rest, and it was really good. And I can't speak for everyone else at the Dice Tower, but I'm feeling very recharged, and I'm ready to come back. And we got a full week of content for you. Our live stuff is back. We have a live top 10 coming on Thursday, and we're gonna. Well, you know what? I'll talk about the content later on in the episode when it's supposed to be here. Meanwhile, we have a contest, and we got a doozy of a contest for you today, folks, from Pandasaurus. This is just one winner, but the winner will get Dinosaur World, The Loop, Machi Koro 2, and Brew. That's a pretty good selection of games here, folks. So all you have to do to enter this contest is to email us at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put the word celebration. But you got to answer this question: how many new games did Pandasaurus release in 2021? The answer is between 1. Well, actually, I should say the answer is in between 4, because I just told you about 4 of them. The answer is between 4 and 100. All right, so answer that question, and you can win a copy of this. Hello, chat, live chat. I've been watching you. We're glad that you are here. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to go through today in this, so we're going to get started with some contributors, and we'll be right back.
Hi everyone, it's Stella from Meeple University and the Dice Tower. No Tarrant with me today, so I'm going to talk about something that is probably just related to me, or maybe some of you at home. The grind of learning the rulebook over and over again. Not just for any games or any situations, but the hope that you would play the game that you want to play, but then it doesn't get played. So you've learned and learned and learned the rulebook, and then somehow you get distracted, your friends decided they want to play something else. One game that happened to me is actually Small Island, and I still haven't had a chance to play it. Well, there's no choice because we have to do a video for this one, but I've learned Small Islands probably like 3 times, and every time it didn't get to play, and then a few weeks later I forgot the rules. Good thing it is pretty simple, but then I have to, remember the rules, read the rules again, over and over. Has that happened to you? Maybe you could build a serious game where you would probably spend like, I don't know, 4 hours to learn the rules. Let me know in the comments. I want to know if, or you probably have way better memory than me, so you can just remember the games. And that's it. See you next time.
Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Nick Traeger with Meeples on the Ground, and today we're looking at Buried Treasure. This is a game I picked up over at PAX Unplugged 2021. So Buried Treasure is a game published by Eagle Griffin and Restoration Games. The player time for this one is 10 to 20 minutes and is also for ages 7 and up, and last but not least, the player count is for 2 to 5 players. And the objective of this game is to get the most victory points over 3 rounds. So you'll be playing this game over 3 rounds, and during those 3 rounds you want to collect as much as you can of every type, because once it comes to scoring, you're going to get points for having the most in first, second, or third place. And you'll be collecting blueberry pies, raspberry macaroons, mocha lava cakes, and lemon tarts. So once all the buried treasure cards are collected within a round, you're going to move into end of round scoring. And in end of round scoring, you're going to be getting points for having the most, second most, and third most of a certain flavor type. And that will change between each round. And also, if you ever tie for a certain, if you tie for first place, you're not going to get those points. And the person with the next most is going to actually get that first place spot. So be careful on how many cards you collect within a round. Then, making sure everyone's gotten their victory points, you will move on to the next round, where you're going to go ahead and put out more buried treasure cards to be collected. And then once those are collected, you'll go ahead and do another end of round scoring. And then after you do that for 3 rounds, you're going to see who has the most victory points. And whoever has the most victory points is the winner of buried treasure. So this was Buried Treasure by Eagle Griffin and Restoration Games. We hope you all enjoyed this quick overview of this game. And until next time, we'll see y'all later. Bye!
All right, folks, today we're talking about, this is the last time we're talking about the year 2001. And we're going to take a look at the eBay electronic auction game. Now, this is a game, I remember distinctly, I got this at KB, that store that used to exist also, for $5. It was a sales store. I was traveling through America. At the time, I lived in Korea, and I was back to America visiting, going around just buying games. You all know what it's like when you first get into a hobby. I mean, I've been playing games my whole life, but I just gotten into hardcore gaming again, and I was like traveling around, and I saw this, and I was like, oh, I love shopping on eBay. I'll buy this. Now, this game, by all means, should be a pretty terrible game, and it's not. I actually think it's under-ranked. On Board Game Geek, it's ranked at 8,190. I played it live here on the Dice Tower, and it's not the greatest game to play live because you have to hear it, but this is a timed game. It's an auction game where you have a certain number of cards, and you play these cards when it calls you, say, yellow. And you put a card on top of any of these auctions, and then when you win the auction, you get an item there which is either worth half, full, or double the value that it shows on the card. And you get points for collecting things. And the winner of the auction loses that card for the rest of the game. Everyone else gets their cards back. It's very simple. It's fun. I like the timed aspect. It does not work in a convention hall, I found out, because you can't hear the speaker. And there's a few things that could be redone. Like this would be one I'd love to see Restoration Games take a crack at. Because the weakest part of the game is getting the cards themselves. The values of them are just too all over the place. But the auctioning is really fun. The fact that it's timed, I want to say it's a 20-30 minute game. It's not a very long game. This one's really enjoyable. Don't let the whole, hey, it's an electronic game, it's eBay, it's themed. All that stuff seems bad, but this is a very enjoyable game. You can find this, I think, my copy broke, so I went on, I think, eBay. This is not an advertisement for eBay, I swear. To get another copy of it, and I was able to get one very easily. So I still think there's enough of these out there. If you ever find one, you might find us at a garage sale. Check to make sure it works, because that is the problem with electronic stuff. But it just needs a few batteries, and you can play it. And I think you will be surprised. This is definitely a game that is better than you might think. So that's a game from 20 years ago. Next week, we're moving to a new year. So we'll see you then.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'll try and keep my head still. Sorry.
You
Today we are looking at
Quadropolis. Quadropolis or Quadropolis?
Quadropolis.
Set collection, hand management game, and you've got to build your city to the best of your ability.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is a really nice and simple
Days of Wonder.
Days of Wonder game, yeah. This is, you basically have your own area that you're trying to build a city in. You're trying to build sort of tower blocks and supermarkets and parks and city buildings, civic buildings, and you draft those from a main pool. And you just draft a tile depending on the column and the row that it's in, and you place an architect to secure that row and column in your board, but you take it from the position in the grid. A bit confusing when I say it like that, but literally if you put number 1 down, you get the first tile along that row or column. You put number 4, the 4th tile, that kind of
Very
thing.
clever way of doing it.
Yeah, and then you place it in row 1 or 4, depending on which one you used, and then you have to build your grid accordingly, trying to maximise your score. And when you draft a tile, you also draft whatever the resources on that tile are, and they're either power sources or meatballs, which are little inhabitants. And then you place those on your city as you go along to try and maximise your score again. Very simple, very easy to play, very easy to pick
Nice to look
up.
at as well.
Yeah, it's a great little game.
Days of Wonder, I mean.
Yeah, I mean the production value is through the ceiling, obviously, as usual with Days of Wonder.
Good fun.
Really nice little game, plays in about 25-30 minutes.
And good fun for 2 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we recommend this one, Quadropolis. Check it out. It's a really nice little tile laying game if you like that kind of thing. Plays really well at 2, as you say.
Stop it!
Stop shaking your bells. Okay, team. We'll see you on the next breakfast. Have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year to you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, I already spoiled most of that at the beginning of the show. So we did the Winter Spectacular a couple weeks ago, which I thought went well. And for those of you who showed up live, fantastic. But a lot of parts of that hard to find. Once, live it's fantastic. So we're pulling out a lot of the top 10 lists from that and posting them separately over the course of this week. But I don't want this week just to be a week of reruns, so we're also doing some new stuff in a bit at 10 o'clock today. Z is going to be playing through Cottage Garden, doing an app on that, and I'll be doing a Q&A today at noon, so you can come by and ask questions there. I'm also doing some new top 10s this week. It's been a while since I've done a bestsellers list from Game Nerds, so we're making up for that this week. I'm doing the bestsellers of October 2021. Also, I'm doing the bestsellers from November 2021. I can't do December yet because it's not done yet, but I did do the bestsellers of the year, or I'm going to do that. It's coming out this week. And Look Back is coming. The podcast this week, as we count down to the ending of the podcast, we have a special guest host that's going up tomorrow. Jeff Engelstein shows up live and joining us for that. So I hope that you guys enjoy that. And of course, lots of other great podcasts on our network. So there's other things going up over the course of the week. And we're doing a big top 10 list, a live one on Thursday. We're doing the top 10 games that are worth, what did I call it now?
Worth the effort.
Worth the effort. Top 10 games worth the effort. So what does that mean? Well, come by and join us then. All right, so that's what's coming from the Dice Hour. Lots of stuff and lots of live stuff. Shoot some marbles tomorrow. So we'll see you then during all that stuff.
Assalamu alaikum. Bastion is one of my favorite cooperative games, and the reason why it is a castle defense game, but it is lesser known in the gaming world, and that's really a shame because I really love the unique mechanisms that come in this game. Even though the game is very simple in the start, that okay, it's a pick up and deliver, you are picking up the mana from one place and using the magic to defeat the enemies, but it's the variety of the enemies that is in this game that adds the puzzling level of this game. Ooh, if I defeat this enemy, the other enemy is going to jump and take over this place and it's going to become worse for me. So I cannot defeat this enemy, instead I have to target something else. But the problem with the game setup was that the game lets you explore all these enemy types by yourself, and you have to make these combination of decks all by yourself. And if you have faced that kind of challenge, then what I recommend to new players is get the story mode that I have made. Other than adding an overarching story of 10 missions, what this is going to let you do is there is a guideline on putting different enemies in different kind of packs in the game. And once you have done it, then just like any legacy game, it will ask you, okay, open now package number 2, open now package number 3 after each of the mission, and now add these cards in the deck, remove these cards from the deck. And in this way, it will take you through an epic story of, other than the epic story, it will take you through all content of the game as well. So if you have been trying to try Bastion, but have been limited by so many enemy types and how do I actually play with them, then get the story mode from the link below. That's it for me. Happy gaming.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you about Cartographer's Heroes. Now, if you haven't played the original, fear not. This is almost like the same game again, but with some tweaks. It's a brilliant flip and write game. You are going to be turning these cards over and then, depending on what they are, either having a choice between 2 different terrain types or 2 different shapes of one terrain type to draw onto your map. You are cartographers after all. You'll be doing this for points. So maybe you want big areas of wheat fields next to water. Maybe you want certain shaped towns of your villages. And then there's some monsters. But in this game, there are heroes that you can also get. So these are one each round is going to be shuffled in, and these can help you slay these, in this case, dragons or gorgons or zombies. I really liked Cartographers, and I really enjoyed this as well. I would say they're not necessarily different enough for most people to own both, but if you didn't get the first one, you could pick this up and very much play and enjoy the awesome Cartographer's gameplay. But if you really like it like I do, getting both has more maps, more scoring cards, more shapes and stuff to shuffle into the deck, so it just gives that even more variety. And the Heroes thing is kind of cool. Anyway, that is Cartographer Heroes, and enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
Alrighty, every year at the end of the year I make predictions for the following year based on limited knowledge, mostly speculation, and total making stuff up. And as you can see, I did not do, well, I did okay last year actually, but I don't know. It just predictions. So you can also put your predictions in the comments there. So if you have any comments or predictions, I'll read those at the end. So let's go through my 10 predictions. These are in no particular order, based on almost no particular information other than my guessing at the hobby. So number 1, I think of the games that came out in 2021, I think 3 of them will be in the top 100 by this time next year. Those 3 I think will be Sleeping Gods, the new Crew Deep Sea Adventure, and Ark Nova. I think those 3 will all make the top 100 ranked games on BoardGameGeek.com. Talk about ranked games there. My number 2 prediction is even more specific. I think Ark Nova will go all the way to the top 20. That's how popular I think it will be. Might be wrong on this one, and I know I like it a lot, but I'm not using my enjoyment of it as a barometer really, because there's a lot of games that I really enjoy, like my number 2, Domineer's Tower, Venture Tactics. I don't think that's going to make the top 500 probably, but I love it a lot. But I think Ark Nova will make the top 20. Number 3, I think of the top 10 ranked games from 2022. So I make the same kind of prediction every year. So of 2022, when all the games come out at the end of the year, when I do review this, which is halfway through December, I think of those top 10 ranked games on Board Game Geek, I think one of them will be a GameFound game, and 6 or more will be from Kickstarter. So we'll see. I said 6 last year from Kickstarter, and there was 7. So that's not I guess too hairy of a prediction to make. I think that's going to stay true. But I'm also saying 1 will be from GameFound. Number 4, this is a hopeful prediction, but I'm going to say no major convention, and I'll say major convention is, I don't know, 2,000 people or more. No major convention will be canceled in 2022. I hope that's true, but I mean things are looking good, and I was assuming 2021 would be a transition year, which it was of some degree, but I think we're kind of getting back on track here. Okay, let's talk about games from 2022. I think that some of them are going to break the top 100 even before the year is over. I think Frosthaven is going to make the top 50 before the year is over, and Blood on the Clock Tower, assuming it will finally be released 3 years after it was supposed to be released, will make the top 100. It's already very, very popular. So I think those two will hit the top 100 earlier. I think that, what's my number 6? I think, here, I'm just making stuff up now. I think a major celebrity or minor celebrity will say with at least the strength of Will Wheaton will make a foray into board game something, whether it's a show, a review. And I'm not talking about a game show on TV, because game shows have been around forever. Game shows and board games are close cousins anyway. I was talking about someone with board game. I'm talking about someone with the strength of Will Wheaton starting a new tabletop series. I think that would be good for the hobby, but I'm just guessing. I don't know if it would happen at all. Here's a weird one. Asmodee, number 7. I'm going to say they're going to make no major acquisitions in 2022. And I say that because I think they're going to be consolidating with a new company. But they're going to make some moves that make gamers happy. I totally made that up. They're probably going to buy 65 things. But who knows? Speaking of buying things, I'm going to say in 2022 that either Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia is going to be purchased by somebody. Now, Asmodee bought, what's the one they bought? Yeah, Tabletop Arena, or Board Game Arena. Sorry, Board Game Arena. They bought Board Game Arena. So Board Game Arena has been bought and is from Asmodee. But I'm going to say Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia will be bought by somebody else and revamped over the next year. I think, okay, I don't think this. The guys in the studio think this. But I agree. That the highest funded board game project of 2022 will be a GameFound project and not a Kickstarter project. I think that's possible. At number 10, another hopeful prediction. I think that the shipping crisis will be finally back to some semi-normal by Q4 of 2022. Of course, other things can happen, and who knows what the world's going to be by. But I mean, I know the shipping crisis is a big deal. It has been a big deal. It's loosened the slightest bit over the past thing, but I think we'll see somewhat semblance of normality by 2022. Of course, all these things are a grain of salt because that's just totally made up. Let's see what predictions you guys said. Asmodee buys a Dice Tower. Probably not. I saw someone said Cascadia will make the top 100. I really don't think so. I think it's a very popular game, but I think it's popular in a way that Ticket to Ride is very popular, and Ticket to Ride's not in the top 100 either. Just because a game's popular doesn't mean it's highly rated in the Board Game Geek. The Dice Tower Kickstarter will raise 400 grand. That's a nice prediction, but we'll see. Chess will continue to grow, and the Candidates Tournament in the summer will be the first time something other than the World Chess Championship grabs the wider public. No, I disagree on that. I mean, I don't think chess is going to get that big of a deal. I mean, I know the Queen's Gambit came out, and everyone loved it more. Game price will jump up 10% to cover supply chain costs. I think 10% is a low ball there. I think we're going to see game prices go up tremendously. Marvel Zombies? No, I don't know. And who said Marvel Zombies isn't coming to GameFound? It's probably going to Kickstarter. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Marvel Zombies will be the highest rated game of the year. All right, well, in the comments afterwards, you guys can mention more of this stuff. So, let's continue on with the Dice Tower. We got more stuff here from Board Game Breakfast. Those are my predictions. We'll check back in a year and see how they worked.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, today, you guys, we're going to be talking about The Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth. This is a huge campaign-style game. It's all run through this app. It's going to tell you what your characters can do, what they can interact with, what tiles to lay out on the board. The whole thing is run through this app, which makes the learning and the teaching of this game an absolute breeze.
An absolute breeze. Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah.
That was great. I loved it. I actually really liked the app integration in this game. I felt like it just did all the bookkeeping for me, so I could immerse myself in the game. It was not the game. It just helped me keep track of everything so I didn't have to, so I could be just involved in what was happening on the board as it was happening on the board. It was the first game I played that had that great of an immersion and interaction between an app and a game, and I personally am here for it.
Yeah, between the music it adds and the sound effects and the artwork, you were right there in the whole thick of it. You were part of the Fellowship of the Ring. Maybe not the Fellowship of the Ring, but you get it, in the Lord of the Rings world.
Yeah.
I love this had this kind of this deck building element. Your character was able to evolve as the game went on. It also had kind of a push your luck thing going on too. The more you customize your deck, you were able to possibly succeed more based off of these different challenges that can happen, skill checks that you have to do as the game goes on. So as you built your deck, you were able to kind of customize how you were able to react to those various things. Which made it so that your character felt special and different from each other.
This is a game that as soon as we finish, I immediately looked to see if there are any expansions because that is how much I enjoyed it. Well, everybody, this is Ryan. I'm Bethany, and you can find us on Facebook or YouTube or Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews. Until then, have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye everybody.
Guys.
All right, folks, I'm going to be reviewing 3 movies today. And so we'll go from worst to best of these 3 movies. So first is Matrix Resurrections. So I'm going to try not to spoil this movie at all. But if you saw the first Matrix, you've almost seen this movie. The analogy for me is, if you remember when Star Wars Episode 7 came out, it's like they were like, oh, no one liked the prequel. Everyone complains about the prequel, so we're going to just make the first movie again. That's very similar to what this one did. It's not quite the first movie redone, but it's a lot. There's a lot of footage from the first 3 Matrix movies in this. There's a lot of self-referential. In fact, this is the most meta movie I think I've ever seen, where they do everything but wink at the camera and be like, Matrix, get it? They recreate many things from the first movie. They constantly, in the beginning, in the real world, they're making a Matrix video game, and they refer to everything from the first movie. The action sequences are fine. The new with technology, they show various slow motions at different speeds. That's kind of cool. There's some neat fight scenes. But it's not spectacular. It's not 20 years ago, so this is not like a new thing, like, oh, I've never seen The Matrix before. I have seen The Matrix. If you're a big fan of The Matrix, this is better than, I guess, movies 2 and 3, maybe. But I found it to be unsatisfying. It felt more of a celebration of Matrix, like, ooh, we like Matrix a lot. So, meh. I'm not saying it's terrible. I don't think it's terrible either. It's just I don't know what the point of this was other than, like, hey, we can make The Matrix again. The second one is 8-Bit Christmas. Now, this one I really enjoyed. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this one. This one is definitely it's in the same vein as A Christmas Story. In it, Neil Patrick Harris, who's also in Matrix Resurrections, and feel out of place there. He feels much more in place in this one. He's a father telling his daughter she's not getting a phone for Christmas and why. And he goes back and talks about how when he was a kid, he wanted a Nintendo, and his sister wanted a Cabbage Patch doll. If you're an 80s kid, which I am, this is going to be a very nostalgic movie for you, but it's also very well done and has a very heartwarming message at the end. I can see this one easily moving into a regular Christmas rotation for me. I really enjoyed this. I liked the acting. I thought the kids did a good job. I was not like completely surprised at the ending, but they subverted my expectations. And I thought what the movie did was better than what I thought it was going to do. And yeah, a little bit, very heartwarming movie, and really enjoyed this one. Then finally, we got to talk about it. Spider-Man, No Way Home. So this one, if you haven't watched it yet and you don't want to be spoiled on it, then you're not on the internet. I'm not going to spoil it here either. But suffice it to say, the trailer's already spoiled this. To fully appreciate this Spider-Man, you need to have watched the first 2 Spider-Man. And I'm not talking about Spider-Man, what's the first one called? Spider-Man something, and then Far From Home. Oh, yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Spider-Man Far From Home, and then this is No Way Home. Yeah, you need to see those 2, obviously. But you also need to see all the other Spider-Man movies, the other 5 movies that came out. Because this movie references all of them. And I'll tell you what, it did so in an amazing way. This is easily one of my favorite Marvel movies. I saw someone complaining online and they said something like, oh, this was fan service. I'm always confused by that complaint because as a fan, I want them to make the movie for me. I don't want them to do, like, oh, we're going to kill off every character you love. Ha 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 ha. Thanks, Joss Whedon. I want this kind of movie. And they did a great job. In particular, there's one scene in the movie that I really enjoyed, which was the redemption of a character from another movie. And if you watch the movie, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about. I thought that was the best scene in the movie, or at least it was a scene that almost made me like get teary-eyed, and I just really liked it. And that actor who was part of that, I thought was the best actor of the movie too. And this is a movie full of good actors. So if you see it, obviously from the trailer here, Doctor Strange is in the movie, and you've seen that some of Spider-Man's villains are in this movie, and some of the Spider-Man villains are kind of more sidelined in favor of some of the other villains. But Spider-Man has a great gallery of villains, and this movie does a really good job at doing that. So I thought this was fantastic. The ending was good. The action scenes were good. The humor was good. The way that they incorporated things that I figured they were going to incorporate were good. There was a cameo that made our theater clap quite loudly. Yeah, the whole thing was just very, very enjoyable. I can't wait to watch it again. So this, like I said, this is probably my top 5 Marvel movies. I liked it that much. We'll see where it settles down as time goes by. But those are 3 movies I watched. Let's keep moving.
Hey board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back in the breakfast, talking about games that really impressed us at BGG Con, and one of those games is Bad Company from Aporta Games. Now hey, if you've played Space Base or Machi Koro, you already know about this game. The game is a dice engine builder. You've got a tableau of gang members from numbers 2 to 12, and you're sending them out into the city to try to steal as much jewelry and artwork and complete as many heists as you can. But there's 2 elements to this game that I really enjoy. The first is that everybody's involved in every turn. Right from the bat, when the active player rolls 4 dice, they'll split it into 2 pairs, and then every player gets one of those pairs for their choice. Now the active player gets both, but it feels like you're involved in the game right away from the very first turn. And of course, if you get money as part of that action, you can upgrade your numbers. They kind of stretch out with some fun artwork that reminds me of the Haunted Mansion, and that's pretty cool. The second thing that I really like about it is the fact that there's a second board. You also have a board that represents the city, and your car speeds through the city being chased by a police car. But the tension grows as the police car starts to catch you. When you're going through the city, you're going to get bonuses if you stay ahead of the police, and if you can finish the game ahead of the police, you won't lose any points. Everyone's worried about whether they're going to miss out on bonuses or lose points at the end of the game. Hey, so that's Bad Company from Aporta Games. Plays 1 to 6 players in about 30 minutes. It's easy to teach and it has a lot of fun, artwork, and a great theme. Until next time, laissez-les bon temps rouler.
Hello everyone, my name is Dave Luza. I just got back from PAX Unplugged, where I taught a lot of people a lot of games. The most explained game was Origins First Builders, but that was because I was working at the board and dice booth. Awesome game, definitely. But today I want to talk about a game that I have taught Matthew Jude on the plane. I've taught Crystal Dex during dinner, Nick and Mike Murphy during breakfast. It is a small game called Mind Bug. It's got around 48 cards in them. Creatures fighting creatures, trying to get the life points of their master, which of course are the 2 players, down to 0. Every player starts with 3 points and 3 life points. And when it is your turn, you either play a card or you have one of your creatures attack. For example, my opponent can start with playing a card like Rhino Turtle. All the cards have amazing, lovingly art, and great titles, some fun fluff text. Rhino Turtle is an awesome card. Some might say this card is overpowered because he can go into a frenzy. He can attack twice. He is tough, which means you need to kill him twice, basically. So every time someone plays a card and you think, no, that card is too good, then you can mind bug that card. You can say, you know what, I'm going to use one of my 2 mind bugs. I am going to let that card come over and fight on my team. the card now is yours, as well as its ability and everything that card can do. And now your opponent needs to come up with a new plan to try and beat you. Each player only is working with 10 cards, and you can see only 5 of them. And all the cards are lovely, amazing. This plated scorpion is tough as well, which means that although he's got less life points, he's able to take on the rhino turtle because he is poisonous. So every time he's fighting, the opponent is sure to lose. There are fun cards like the snail hydra, shield bugs. There's so much going on that I highly recommend this game. It is Mindbug. Late pledge on Kickstarter is open now. This copy was sold to me at Essen. They only had a small print run at the beginning, but I highly recommend you take a look at Mindbug. Thanks for watching. My name is Dave Luza. Bye, everyone.
All right, that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. Thanks to all the contributors. Like I said, we're back. We got a whole lot of live things coming this week. We have today Z coming on in 30 minutes, playing an app live. I'll be back with a live Q&A at noon. Tomorrow we got Shoots and Marbles at 2 o'clock. On Wednesday we have Crowd Surfing live. On Thursday we have a Top 10 live thing going on. So lots of that stuff coming, peppered with Top 10 lists and stuff. So we're glad to see you all. We got all kinds of cool ideas, new things coming. We're prepping for 2022, the year where we celebrate 20 years of reviews. 20 years of reviews, so that's exciting to be able to do that, and we're glad to have you all on board. Let's keep moving. I will see you next time in a few hours, but until then, I'm Tom Vasel. Check out the beginning of our podcast for the contest, or check out the beginning of this show for a contest, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Yes, we know that this is not the Winter Spectacular, but this is the outro we had in. We got to switch everything back. So that's how that works. But thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, also give it a thumbs up, because that will show us. All right? So that's not coming next. What's coming next is actually Z at 10 o'clock. Also, I said Q&A, all kinds of stuff. But Game Nerds is still a great store, so you should check them out. I'm glad to have you here. So, you know what? I should get going. I got stuff to do. Talk to you later.